Hello, everybody. This is Strat Chat coming at you with a very special edition episode because we are doing a midnight show on this Saturday night discussing the latest episodes, the latest two episodes of the Challenge World Championships, episodes 9 and 10. There's been a lot going on. We're getting close to the end game. I'm very excited to just talk about everything that's been going on lately. So, let's jump right into it. All right. We're going to kick
Let's
this
do
sucker
it.
off. Yeah. All right, so we are Strat Chat. We are hoping Kyle will be joining us at some point, but it is late at night, so hopefully he'll jump on. But I am John Dunphy, and I'm joined as always by my ride or die, Miss Gina Morgino, and we're here to talk about the Challenge World Championship. If you want to find us on the socials, you can do so at Strat Chat Pod, or head to our website www.stratchatpod.com. Okay, so let's get into what's been going on. I feel like these alliances are all over the place.
All over the place.
Right. And I enjoy the chaos it creates because all of these people that are aligned with each other are forced to work with people that would not necessarily be working with them. So you've got, Tori and Danny obviously have been the big one, I think, right? Always disagreeing, always having different opinions. And then you've had, along with Tori, obviously Jordan and Jordan's partner Kaz, and Casey is part of that. And Casey has had to switch partners now because of this illness that sent Ben to the hospital. But Amber's pregnant, so now Troy is Casey's partner, and maybe Troy wouldn't have been a number for Casey and Jordan and Tori, but now all of a sudden he is. So it's it's crazy. Any thoughts on just the alliances we're seeing, the dynamics and everything? Is there any way to even discuss this without just going completely insane?
Well, what's so hard about that too is you have Tori and Danny that are partners, right? So in theory, they should be all aligned with the same people and working together, but Danny is aligned with these people and Tori is aligned with these people, and none of them are the same people. So it's just been chaos the whole season.
Yeah, it really has been. It's just been crazy. And listen, I have for a few seasons now, I have not been a huge fan of Tori, right? And I have not loved her gameplay on this season, because she's so unwilling to say her friends' names. She's resorted to actually voting in her own team at times to go to elimination. But I also do have to take a step back for a minute and realize how close after episode 10, we know there's one challenge left. And then whoever goes home in that next elimination, seems like we're at the final, right? Pretty much. So it's as much as I have criticized Tori and have not loved what she's done, and, watching her on this season has been frustrating. Is she playing a good game? Because she's on the cusp of going to yet another final.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still what we were kind of talking about last time still irks me of just it feels like every season they're bribing people to not cut them in the next season. We see all the time. There's this new precedent being set now of the winners will split the prize money with everybody else. So now it's oh, well, you just gave me whatever it is, how many $1,000. So I'm not going to put you in this time now. And then if I win, I'll also give you however many $1,000. And it's just how much of it is really playing a good game versus you bought them off,
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's I try not to think that would be a big influence in the game, but it's silly not to think that it would be, because think about all the games and the shows that we watch, right? And somebody that's playing the game does a solid for somebody else to show that they can trust them now and in the future. But any of that gets trumped by, you gave me potentially tens of thousands of dollars that goes actually into my bank account and allows me to now pay my bills and all that stuff. So as much as I don't want to think that what we saw last time with Devin and Jordan. Oh wow, Devin and Jordan. I'm associating Tori and Jordan so much
Yep.
together that I'm now
It's
interchanging the names.
impossible
But
not to.
yeah, but with Devin and Tori winning the Challenge 38 and giving money to the runners up, like it's true. It's like, should that be allowed? Should you be allowed to split up that money, because that is going to have more of an impact on people's potential future seasons in this game, as opposed to like, oh, this person didn't say my name for elimination that one time, so
Mhm.
now I'm never going to say their name. It's like, I don't know. It really does seem it's a
And I
slippery
also
slope.
just still, and like we'll get into it because it played, as usual, a big factor in these episodes, but it's like I get that the people who have played this game for so long have their quote unquote honor system of like who they put in, who they don't, whose names they say, whose names they don't say. But like this is unlike most seasons of the challenge where like the rookies are truly rookies. The people that the vets are playing with right now are people who won their seasons. They have already proven that they can play this game and get to the end and make it to a final and win that final. So I still don't understand why like all of the vets' opinions of who's going in, whose names are being said are still more important than their partners.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Like, we have a season here of technically newbies and vets, but like the newbies have all either at least competed on a reality TV show, if not competed at higher levels, like somebody like Emily, who's been in the Olympics.
Right.
Um, and they've competed on shows like The Challenge, right? All these people at some point have competed on a version of The Challenge, but some of them
Mhm.
competed on other shows. Some of them competed on like very high levels athletically and stuff like that. So
Like multiple times on Ninja Warrior, like
yeah, yeah. Which I think part of the reason that we saw somebody like Bananas go home when he did, it's
Mhm.
because these people aren't as intimidated. But I guess so. Let's start getting into this. So we did see over the course of episode 9 and 10, two teams that were probably my favorite two teams that were left have now gone home. Right, the
Yeah.
first being Tristan and Kellyanne, and then unfortunately Darrell and Kiki. And in the elimination that Tristan and Kellyanne left, it was actually Darrell and Kiki sending them home. So,
Mhm.
which sucked. But you know, this is where all these alliances get blurred too. To me, is that like it seemed like Danny and Sarah to me wanted Tristan and Kellyanne to be voted into elimination and wanted them to go home, which is so strange to me because Tristan and Kelly took probably the biggest shot at any of the vets that you would
Mm.
consider vets in the house by sending Bananas and Justine in to take out, or not to take out, but to go against Jordan and Kaz.
Right.
So it's just funny to see like Danny and Sarah wanting to see a team like Tristan and Kellyanne leave when they've taken the biggest shot against the vets. And it seems like Danny and Sarah's team, like, whole goal has been like, let's get out these vets who want to run our games and want to do everything and protect their own people and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just,
And like I actually had kind of a problem with that too because this was the one right where like we saw that confessional from Jordan of being like all they needed was a mediator. Like I was the person who was in the middle, like helping them facilitate the conversation and like get to the point, get us all on the same page. And it's like okay, but you are still biased towards the vets because you are one of them. So like how much of this was you were a mediator versus like you just strong armed them in a different way to go along with what you wanted, you know?
right, right. No, I totally agree. I actually hated that whole conversation in that room when Jordan, Tori, Sarah, and Danny were all talking about how they were going to target Kellyanne and Tristan, but then Sarah and Danny had to vote for Emily and Yes in the next one, and
Mhm.
it's like Tori and Jordan are running this as if they are a pair.
Yep.
Meanwhile, every person in that room, other than Tori and Danny, who are, Tori's been strong arming Danny all season. Everybody else in that room is talking without their own partner
Yeah.
being present. So we don't have full partnerships agreeing to whatever plan Jordan and Tori are coming up with. Like, people are being left in the dark here, and they're just going to have to follow along with whatever Tori and Jordan want.
Which
And
also
yeah,
like I might be blurring the two episodes, but wasn't this the one that Jordan and Kaz won? Did they win in this episode or was it the next one?
yes, yes. Episode 9, they
So
won.
you're talking about the plan of who's going to go in without one of the winners who is responsible for choosing the people going in. How are you going to have that conversation without Kaz?
Yeah, yeah.
And Jordan was like,
Absolutely.
"No, like, the best part of this conversation was the fact that I did it without her because I didn't have like," but, like, she's just as much of a winner as you are.
Right, right. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because I feel like this is going to be all over the place tonight because it's cracked midnight Strat Chat, and
And we're all
we're coming at you
sleepy.
late night Saturday. But I'm glad you brought that up because um, Kaz, who was not present for this meeting between Tori, Jordan, Danny, and Sarah, and this is why partially I named this whole episode, this stream, being like alliances are all over the place
Uh-huh.
because Kellyanne and Jordan, like a lot of their numbers were taken out recently, and that was because um, Amber and Jordan. No, my God, I keep saying Jordan. Why do I keep saying Jordan
You
tonight?
just name
Amber,
dropped Jordan,
yeah,
like, 4 times.
yeah. Amber and Troy were partners. Definitely not numbers for the crew of Tori, Jordan,
Hmm.
and that ilk or whatever. But like Amber and Troy were making their own moves. Now all of a sudden Troy is on Casey's team, and Casey obviously is a number for Tori and Jordan,
Right.
and it's like so it changes the dynamics completely. Um, so like a team like it's like teams have shifted so much where like it actually has made a big impact, and this is why I wasn't so sure about how I felt about like Amber just being allowed to be like, listen, I'm out, so like can I switch places with
Mhm.
Casey, and now Troy and Casey are partners. Like part of me felt like I don't know if I love this because it really shifts the dynamics in a very big
Right, like,
way.
I liked it just because I didn't wanna see Troy go home, so I was like, whatever keeps Troy here, like, is fine because I happen to really like Troy, but, like, I don't know, we don't usually make
Right,
those kind of exceptions, and, like, I
right.
get that this is, like, an extenuating circumstance, she wasn't quitting, she was literally pregnant, but, like,
Right.
I don't know.
But now all of a sudden Troy is brought into this group. And I felt like it shifted the dynamics kind of in an unfair way. And it's like now it feels like Tori and Jordan have gained even more power because their number one, Casey, has been allowed to stay in the game, even though her partner went home. When we've seen
Mhm.
other partnerships be broken up by injury, and the
In this
partner
season,
had
yeah.
to go home. Yeah. So now Casey gets to stay, gains Troy as a partner, who's not only a strong partner, but is like a new number for them. Um, and it just felt weird. And you have Kellyanne and Tristan, and part of the reason why, like I said, like I called this alliances all over the place is Kellyanne and Tristan. You have Tristan now going to Kaz, who is Jordan's partner, and like they're tight because they both won the Challenge UK, and like they have an
Mhm.
alliance of their own on the side. Um, so you see Tristan going to Kaz and kind of talking about things. Kaz never had a chance to save Tristan, and that's what
And
bugs
that
me.
hurts
Yeah,
me, like, I don't understand why this past relationship with Tori and Jordan needs to be more important than any alliance that anybody makes ever in the game. Like, we have how many seasons have we had to sit and listen to this? Like, it doesn't matter. You signed up to play the game, play it. I don't care that you were engaged.
right. Right.
Like, why should Kaz have to throw in her fiercest ally because she knows, well, there's no way that Jordan's gonna throw in Tori, so I guess I just have to deplete one of my numbers. Oh, well, we didn't see any conversation, any pushback. It was just like, well, that's just the way it's gonna be. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I hate that.
It's like the entitlement. It's like
Yeah.
I feel like the show called all these legacy MTV challenge members legends, and they all really think of themselves that way as
Mhm.
legends in their own minds. You know what I mean? It's like you've got people that are MVPs, global MVPs that have never played with any of these people, but they're already challenge champions. They've
Right.
already accomplished more than some of these other people that are
I was gonna say
legends.
half of those legends, or maybe not half, but a chunk of those legends have never won before.
Yeah.
Like, how are you
Yeah.
gonna come in here and act like you're running shit when you are competing against people who have won in their countries and their versions and their whatever? Like, how are you gonna act like you have more of a say?
Exactly. And it's like this is kind of why I was bringing this up before too, with like Tori kind of being like how we haven't loved her gameplay, but she's gotten pretty far in the game on the cusp of another final. But
Mhm.
like it's just very annoying to me because I feel like every conversation with Tori is I could never vote for that person because they're my best friend or they're one of my friends. And it's like, okay, but you have a partner and your partner has friends. And your partner is not allowed to protect his own friends because you are forcing him to protect your friends. It's
Right.
like,
Also, that's the game. The game is to vote other teams in so they leave and you win. If you're not
right,
willing to do that, don't play.
right. No, exactly. Exactly. 100%. Um, all right. I do want to talk about, 'cause I feel like we kind of talked about some of these alliances and how jumbled they are now, and everything's kind of a mess. And Tori loves to throw a tantrum and get her way.
Mhm.
But let's actually talk about some of these competitions. So the first one we had was this like Transformers themed one, and I'm very
Right, right,
disappointed that
right.
Kyle's not here because I was very excited to be like, we
A
love a
themed
sponsored comp.
competition.
Yeah. But so this was, themed after the new Transformers Rise of the Beasts movie, which I didn't even know they were still making Transformers
I
movies.
absolutely did not know.
But we had a little message from Anthony Ramos,
Mhm.
which was fun. Obviously a star in the movie, but also star of Hamilton fame, which
Mhm,
we love, and the In
mhm.
the Heights movie, right?
Of course.
So it was fun to see a familiar theater face
Mhm.
because we know that comes from our background, but was
I was like,
incorporated here
I
into the challenge.
normally like the opposite of Kyle. I normally could not care less about like sponsored comms, but I saw him come up on this trailer and I was like, Anthony Ramos is in this. Like I got so hype about this movie that I'd never cared about.
Yeah, yeah. I'll probably see it. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But what did you think of this comp, though? Did you like this competition? We've seen the dual trucks like going down the
Mhm.
runway, but I feel like it's this to me was more fun.
Yeah.
I like this
No, I,
one.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I thought this was a lot of
Though it,
fun.
it seemed very scary given like how many people were like rolling over and like all the I don't know.
Well,
It
Emily
seemed
had
very
a very
dangerous.
scary moment. Yeah, Emily's
Yeah.
flip was scary.
I thought she was down for the count.
That was very scary. Yeah. Um, Thankfully she's all right. But yeah, it was Kaz and Jordan that took this one. Um, and Darrell and Kiki came in last place.
Mhm.
Not good, not good, not good at all.
So many
Um,
eliminations they've had to be in this season.
yeah. And so obviously Darrell and Kiki go in, not what we wanted to see, but it was right after this competition that we saw Kellyanne doing a lot of politicking. She's been working very hard. She's done well competition wise too. She had previous to this competition, she had won 2 of the last 3 with Tristan. This one they did not win. Probably their 2 biggest allies left in the game in Darrell and Kiki because we saw Ben Hott and Jody go home, and then we saw Amber leave the game, which meant that Troy was now with Casey. So like their like whole alliance has been decimated.
Mhm.
Um, but so we see Kellyanne and Tristan really trying to politic because their 2 biggest allies left in the game are now on the chopping block. And there was a little bit of a back and forth here. First, we saw Kellyanne go to Yes and Emily and ask, would you be interested in making a big move? Let's put in Tori and Danny and Sarah and Theo, 2 American teams. Emily was like, why would you even come to me and say this? Like, I would never put Sarah in.
Mhm.
And it was after this conversation, then, right, that Kellyanne went and talked to Casey and Troy about possibly putting in those 2 teams. Weren't having it. So now Kellyanne goes back to Yes and says, all right, instead of Tori, Danny, Sarah, Theo, what if we do Danny, Tori, and against them, we do Casey and Troy? Clearly that didn't pan out, but it just felt like a last ditch effort from Kellyanne for me because it's like you're going to multiple sides, coming up with
Yeah.
different plans.
And
Um,
we also saw we saw them butting heads between the 2 of them too, because she was like coming in hot on these campaigns, just like going at people. And Tristan was like, you have to calm down. Like you cannot
yeah,
come at people like this. They're gonna get pissed off.
yeah. Tristan was trying to tell her to be like a little bit less abrasive or whatever, right?
Mhm. And she did not
Um,
like that.
yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I honestly don't blame her because Kellyanne has been treated pretty poorly on a number
Mhm.
of these seasons lately. Like people are always coming after her for no reason. Um, her
I
best
yeah, I
friends,
don't
like
get
we
what this,
saw,
like,
yeah,
dogpiling is on, like, they just pick a person of the season and they shit
yeah,
on them for seemingly no reason.
yeah. Even earlier in this season, we saw John A. Right, Kellyanne's like best friend coming after her very early in the game when there were
Mhm,
other targets that were clearly out there for her to go after. So like
mhm.
I kind of don't really like mind, and I can kind of understand why Kellyanne has been feels the way that she does, especially because we are really getting down to the end here.
Yeah, because
Um,
at this point, because for her, it's been multiple seasons too. Because it was that All-Star season we were covering that they were all
yeah,
against her too.
yep, yep, yep. The whole Treehouse Alliance was ganging up on her.
Yeah, who can
I
blame her
do,
for being frustrated and, like, pulling out all the stops and being like, "No, just enough. Like, let me stay
right,
in here."
right. I do wonder how things could have gone different in all this talk if Kellyanne had gone to Yes and Emily, and instead of saying Sarah and Theo, like I wonder if she had said like let's do Danny and Tori and Casey and Troy. Like I wonder
Like,
if
just
she
from the
had just
get, yeah.
right from the get, yeah, I wonder if things would have gone differently for them in the subsequent, deliberations and nominations and all that stuff. Um, but we'll never know. Unfortunately, we will never know. At this point, we got to deliberations. Obviously, we know that you know Darrell and Kiki, unfortunately, are going to be in elimination, and then every team at the table, including Danny and Tori, voted for Danny and Tori.
This is
But
the
then
second
also,
time this season that Tori and Danny have voted for themselves. I'm like,
yeah,
"What is happening?"
yeah, it's honestly it's so ridiculous. But
Like, what the
Danny and
hell?
Tori, they got the votes to go in, and also Tristan and Kellyanne. So those
Like,
were our
she
two
is
teams.
that unwilling to vote for one of her people that she is rather going to vote for herself.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. And obviously, Sarah and Danny did not really have any intention of going through with this, but I found it funny that Kellyanne went to Emily and said, like, "What about Danny, Tori, and Sarah and Theo?" And Emily was like, "No, absolutely not. I don't know why you would even ask me to say her name." And then, like, almost immediately after that, we went to the whole Tori, Jordan, and Danny and Sarah convo, and they were like, "All right,
Mhm.
we'll do Tristan and Kellyanne this week, but next week you have to do Emily and Yes." And
Yeah.
Sarah was like, "Yeah, okay, fine. I'll sign a contract." It's like,
Yeah. This, like,
and like,
weird whiteboard
right.
contract.
Yeah, yeah, very weird. And like we find out later that clearly Sarah did not have any intention of like following through with that. But the whole thing was just so funny to me because it's like here you have Kellyanne, a strong player who's been like making big moves, coming to Emily with a plan, and she's just absolutely shooting it down. And then you have Sarah being like, "Yeah, yeah, no, no, it's late in the game. If I have to make a move, I will." Like acting as if she is willing to throw Emily in. It's
Mhm.
like very different dynamics from
Yeah.
that those two conversations. So, um, but yeah, so we have Darrell and Kiki automatically going into elimination. The two teams that are up for nomination are Tori and Danny, and Kellyanne and Tristan. And Kaz, as she apologizes, sends in Kellyanne and Tristan. And again, this is just one of those things. It's like,
That sucks.
yeah, Tori has been saying her own name, her own team's name, to avoid saying her friend's name against
Hmm.
Danny's wishes. Um, and yet we have Kaz, who has an ally and a friend in Tristan, who just because Jordan wants it to go this way,
Yeah, not
she has no
allowed to
choice.
do anything
Yeah.
about it, yeah.
He wouldn't even entertain the thought of putting in
Mhm.
Danny and Tori. Wouldn't even entertain that thought. Um,
And then she just has to bend to his will because it's her first time working with these people, like, it
yeah.
sucks.
And this is all happening on Tristan's birthday, by the way.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about
But
that.
yeah, he's been sick like half the season, and on his birthday, he gets nominated for elimination and sent home.
Sent in by his ally.
Oh
Ugh.
god. Yeah. And apparently a lot of fans from what I saw online, people were very upset with Kaz about this for not fighting harder. For Tristan
I mean,
and
for
Kellyanne.
all we know, she did. We literally saw no segment of them discussing who was gonna go in, so, like, nobody who knows? And we did see them butting heads a lot in the next episode, Kaz and Jordan.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Which I felt like was very unfair, by the way. I mean, so this whole elimination, by the way, Darrell and Kiki sent them home. It was called Hands Off. They had to use these chopsticks to move some puzzle
That's right,
pieces
that's right.
around, put the puzzle together. It was fun or whatever, but it was disappointing because I was going to be upset no matter who went home.
Right.
But we saw Darrell and Kiki win. Good for them. Tristan and Kellyanne go home. Very sad. But now piggybacking off what you just said about this whole Jordan and Kaz thing, I was like pretty annoyed. This moment, because I have said to you guys, to you and Kyle multiple times that like I want to see the season definitely without Tori.
Right.
But I want to see a season at least with this couple separated.
Yeah.
And for a while, I was on this bandwagon of being like, all right, they need to be separated, but I would take Jordan. If I had to choose one over the other, I would take Jordan. Let me see Jordan, because I think he could be fun to watch on a season without Tori. But at this point, I'm firmly in the camp of I don't want either one of them. Give me a
He
season,
pissed me off
please.
so bad this episode. I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell is your problem, man?
Yeah, because he was having that conversation with Kaz and Theo was there. And at one point, Kaz said to Jordan, like, oh, like we're working together. And he's like, are we? Are we? Like trying to make her feel bad about her decisions somehow in the game. It's like she just sent one of her best friends into elimination and they went home on their birthday.
Yeah.
Like now you're gonna give her shit about not working with you, being a good partner. Like, what?
Because, like, not to jump the gun, but, like, their back and forth was getting so bad that she literally walked out of that confessional. She was like, I'm not doing this with you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I really did not like that moment.
No, this whole episode was a bad one for Jordan. It's a bad episode for Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because, like, we see Jordan is clearly playing multiple sides here. Because we saw that he made a deal, apparently, with Emily and Yes. Right?
Right.
Which we'll see how that all works out now, because it looks like Emily and Yes might be in the targets of Casey and Troy, because Casey and Troy were put into elimination by Emily and Yes by winning the Daily Challenge in episode 10. But like Jordan, what are you doing? Like, you're working with Tori, you won't split with Tori. But you're making deals with Emily, who is Sarah's biggest ally.
It's like, how there's going to be no one left to put in. You're going to have to go back on something.
Yeah. And that's why these pairs, like, it's funny, like the pairs are great. And I also hate them because they're great because they force people to into uncomfortable situations. But I also want to see how all these people would work independently from each other.
Right.
If we could actually see them work with the people that they wanted to and make the deals they wanted to, like, I would love to see that. But there is something that's great about this season and how everybody has to work with someone that they necessarily aren't even technically aligned with. Like, that's fun. Oh man, what a crazy season. But I will say in episode 10, Sarah and Danny got bailed out big time by Emily and Yes winning the Daily Challenge. So we had this. It also is funny to me that Danny and Sarah made this deal with Tori and Jordan, right? That they would vote in Emily and Yes in the next competition. And that was like the deal that was struck between the four of them. And then the next competition is a swimming competition.
I know.
Which, like,
the
Emily
second
is an
I saw it was
Olympic
a swimming
swimmer.
competition, I was like, it is over.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah. But it could have turned out very differently. Jordan and Kaz did very well in this. But I just thought it was funny that they made this deal. Here we go now. The next competition is for an Olympic swimmer when we know that Tori
they
and
walked
Jordan,
in like, fuck.
Yeah. But so what did you think of this challenge? Did you like this one? Tethered together, you have all these pairs, they have to swim around, gather their puzzle pieces one at a time, and then solve this puzzle. Did you like this one?
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I think like my bigger issue with it was like the temper tantrum that happened at the end of it, but
Oh, from Jordan?
yeah, like Jordan was the one who messed it up, and then Jordan was the one throwing a shit fit that he didn't win it. It's like, my guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Calm down.
you can tell, by the way, how much Yes was slowing Emily down by the fact that even with Jordan and Kaz having to swim an extra lap because at one point Jordan grabbed the wrong color puzzle piece,
Mhm.
like they were still that neck and neck.
Yeah.
But Emily and Yes
I
pulled
know,
it out
it's
in the
like,
end.
imagine how much more quickly she would have won it if it was, like, a solo competition.
Oh
She
my
would've
god.
smoked them.
Yeah, no, I can't even imagine. Um, I will say this competition gave me one of my favorite moments of the season so far, and I have a video clip from it.
Oh, no.
And it actually, I have two video clips to share with you tonight.
Oh, no.
No, I mean they're not bad. They're both actually from Darrell and Kiki,
Okay.
who we lost. So I think that'll be fun for everyone. But so Kiki, I love Kiki so much, and
She's great.
unfortunately, she deals with asthma, so she has some difficulty with breathing and stuff. And these swimming competitions can be tough. Um, there was a moment, I don't know if you like noticed this at the end of this competition where Darrell was like jumping back into the water, and because everybody is like tethered together, Kiki is, obviously going to go in whatever
Uh-huh.
direction Darrell moves. But Kiki literally went from asking for a like an inhaler to then being dragged right back into the water. I'm going to play this video clip for you right now, and I'm doing this out of love. I love Kiki so
Yeah,
much, but
I don't
this
remember this, so
this was really funny. Like this poor
Oh
girl.
my god, I don't remember that.
Yeah, like that. This poor girl, like she's already like asking for an inhaler to help her breathe.
Oh, no.
She gets yanked into the water, and then after all
Literally
that, yeah,
yanked.
and then after all that, they end up coming in last place and going straight to
Oh
elimination. Like,
my god.
um, so I'm sorry, Kiki, but that was a funny moment.
Wow, I can't believe I don't
Yeah,
remember that happening.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so we saw again, unfortunately, Darrell and Kiki losing. Um, second challenge in a row, meaning they're going
Mhm.
to elimination again, straight to elimination once again for two challenges in a row. Um, but yeah, from here, obviously Emily and Yes won, so this is bad news. Um, well, it's bad. See, that's the thing. This isn't really bad news for anybody,
Uh-huh.
to be honest, because like it's great news for Sarah because she now doesn't have to vote Emily in.
Right.
But it's also not really bad news even for like Toria Jordan because while Casey is their number one, Emily has had it out from the beginning for Troy and Kiki. So now she
Mhm.
gets to put them in against each other. And it's like this is what has annoyed me too is that like the whole Emily thing, like it's very clear that Emily and Grant, both from the challenge Australia,
Right.
they came into the house very much against
Like, with a
Troy and
vendetta
Kiki.
from the
Yeah.
jump, yeah.
Um, and it's just the whole thing has been kind of weird to me. It's been really frustrating, honestly. And like, I wasn't a huge fan of Grant. I wasn't glad with how he left because he's a good competitor. So I wanted to
Mhm.
see how he played. But like, um, yeah, I really just haven't gotten this whole thing. And it was funny because even in like some of the game talk, like you heard Emily being like, "Oh, Troy betrayed me, and Kiki doesn't trust me," and it's like, no, you are the one that has
Mhm.
caused all of this distrust, Emily. I even looked it up, the voting records, because there was a point where Emily actually made a comment saying that Kiki and Troy had her name in their mouths like over and over and over again, and Kellyanne too. Actually, Emily made the same comment about. Um, I think that's really where I looked it up because Emily had said something about because when Kellyanne was going to Emily about that whole plan about like let's put in
Right.
Danny and Tori and Sarah and Theo. And Kellyanne was like, I'm not going to do that. Why would I say Sarah's name? Kellyanne, you've had my name in your mouth all season. And it's funny
Mhm.
because I actually looked at this. So Emily, the first 2 weeks of the season, going into eliminations, right? Emily's vote was for Kellyanne and Tristan, right?
Mhm.
Who did Kellyanne vote for in those first 2 weeks? She voted for Dan and Jody, Danny and Jody, Benha and Jody, Danny and Tori, Ben and Casey, Grant and Janae. 4 different teams. None of them were Emily and Yes.
Yep.
Eventually, Kellyanne did put a vote on Emily and Yes. That was after Emily had already voted for Kellyanne and Tristan twice.
Right.
So Emily wants to put this whole thing on as if like, oh yeah, we're not Aussie strong because Troy and Kiki keep saying my name. It's like, no, you were voting for these people way before they ever
Yeah,
were.
well, I mean, I feel like that's how it was in Australia too. Like she had this vendetta against them, but they hadn't like provoked her or anything.
Yeah. It's just very weird. And honestly disappointing.
And it's also like, I don't know, like maybe this is just a me thing, but like I would think if you're in like a global championship, you would put like keeping as many Australians in as possible in the game above any personal vendettas and then hashing it out later. But also like I don't know. I feel like if you genuinely believe that you like wrongfully lost the final to another team, like would it rather than trying to like get them out as soon as possible, wouldn't it be more satisfying to like run the final and beat them? Like why are you trying so hard to just get them out of the game as soon as possible? Like I don't know
Yeah.
what that is.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's very odd. But
Especially because it's a global championship, like you're playing for your country too, and she has like just been nonstop against the other Australians.
right. Well, actually, I have a question about this later that I wanted to ask
Okay.
about this whole world championship thing. So let's get through. So we had our daily challenge. We had some strategizing, right? So in the deliberation, this was a very easy deliberation, actually, right? We had Emily and Yes winning the challenge, Darrell and Kiki losing, and then it was just a stalemate.
Mhm.
And obviously, like we were mentioning, Emily and Yes decided to put in Troy and Casey against, Darrell and Kiki. Unfortunately, we saw Casey and Troy win, which I don't even understand why Casey and Troy are so fired up about it. Because at this point, like Casey, what do you expect? Like somebody in your
Right.
alliance is going into elimination. That's all that's left. So, like,
Well, and that's like this stalemate annoyed me so much too, because it's like you guys literally are that unable to say anybody's name that you're like, nah, we'll just like leave it up to chance, whatever. Any of us could be in, and that's fine. Like, play the game. What are you doing?
I know.
You just won't vote for anybody because now it's all your friends.
Right. And this leads into another question I have for when we finish up the recaps of the episodes themselves. So, but yes, we see Emily and Yes choose Troy and Casey. They go up against Darrell and Kiki, and Troy and Casey win. So Darrell and Kiki have gone home. And from what we've seen on the next on and everything, it looks like after the next challenge, whoever wins that one, it goes directly into the final, and then we move on from there. So we are right on the doorstep of the final. Yeah. Any other final thoughts on these last 2 episodes? I think we've covered everything, right?
I think so.
For the most part, anyway. At least what we thought was interesting or important. On the next on, I will say I did see more annoying Tori and Jordan stuff because you have Jordan yelling at Tori like every time we play this game together, I have to make a decision I don't like.
I saw that conversation starting and I turned off the next on. I was like, I'm not if I gotta watch this all next week, I don't want to watch it right now.
It's like
I can't do this.
they're yelling at each other about this, and it's like you both have partners that you have been forcing to make decisions that you didn't want to make the entire season you've been with them. So just shut up. I don't care.
Now you
I have
gotta
no
deal with it.
sympathy for you.
Whatever.
Yeah, like I don't care. I don't care if you're legends that have played this game however many times.
I'm just so sick of Tori and Jordan.
Yeah. There was a point where Jordan had been comparing. Did I already mention? It's possible I already mentioned this, but Jordan had been comparing like this is the difference between MVPs and legends. Like, we have honor, and I'm like, shut up. Like, honestly, shut up. Because Darrell, who we had to see leave in the same episode, probably has more honor than anybody. He comes from an era in the game where like there wasn't all of this politicizing. There wasn't all of these backdoor politics and side deals. It was just you play the game, You play the competitions. Whoever does the best, they have the power. Whoever does the worst, they go in. And
Mhm.
if you did second worst, you have to go into elimination along with the worst. Like that was like the epitome of having honor in the game. Like
Right.
Jordan and Tori entered this game at a point where there was still politics. Like this was not like a straightforward game like it was when it very first started. So like the fact that like you want to talk about honor, like Darrell has more
Yeah.
honor than any of these people in there. So don't give me that argument. Um, God, I would love if anybody, if there was anybody in there that I would want to see win again that hasn't won in a long time, it's honestly it's Darrell. And one of the reasons I'm disappointed Kyle's not here too is because he had been mentioning how much he was enjoying Darrell on this season.
Mhm.
And I totally agree with that. I think part of it honestly was having Kiki as a partner this season. I think that kind of like sparked something in Darrell because he seemed
Yeah.
to have like more fire and he
Yeah.
seemed to be having more fun and was like way more just ready to go for these competitions. I actually have one more clip I want to show from
Okay.
them before I forget. And I see some people in the comments saying that they want a Manwan, you know, Manwan Monday shout out, even though it's Saturday, and we'll give it
It's
to them. So,
not
but
Monday.
we're gonna show this clip first. So, but this is just a fun clip from Darrell and Kiki that like I'm gonna miss them on the remainder of this season. But here this is.
This has turned pear shape real quick.
Pear shape?
Yeah.
What's wrong with a pear? I like pear shapes.
Pear shape means like, imagine if you've got everything's going perfectly well in a circle and then it turns pear shape, meaning you just lost control of what you were doing.
I like pear shape because pear shape means you got ass.
So,
Like, how can you not love them? How can you not love them? And I feel
It's a
like
great
even
dynamic.
right, like even just in that one little clip, that very short clip, like that seems like more fun to me than Darrell has had in a long time on this show. And he has a
Mhm.
long history on this show. He has appeared on the show. He's won multiple championships. He is like truly, if we want to call these people MVPs and legends, like Darrell is truly a legend. Um, Unfortunately, he hasn't won in a while, but like, God, I want to see him back and I want to see him
But
win
he's been
so bad.
cracking me up all season too. Like just from the moment that he got paired, he's like, "I'm an Australian now. That's the way it's gonna be." And he's been so like just all in on like Team Australia, and it's been so funny to watch.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's there's something about this season with Darrell that like it feels like he has like awakened in a way.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. And we have a comment here. I'm sorry, everybody. We have some people watching us. They've been commenting. We were a little thrown off. Tonight's been a weird night. But Amaya here has a comment. Darrell has a better chance on All Stars. I do agree. I think Darrell could totally go in and win a season of All Stars. But I think that he could even win on one of these other seasons. So, but all right. What else do we have here? What else do we have? We talked about episodes 9 and 10. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I had an edible before we started. So, like, I'm a little. This is midnight Saturday Strat Chat. So it's a little cracked. So, we're here. We're also down a man,
My
but we're
lord.
soldiering on. These are some other thoughts that I had. I already mentioned one. We need a season without both Tori and Jordan.
Yes.
That was a thought. You agree, right?
Yes.
Okay. Another question I have is this actually a world championship? Like they're calling it the Challenge World Champions or World Championship, but like this was like a bunch of global MVPs that were thrown together and then depending on the order they finished in, they had this draft of legends that were overwhelmingly American. Like you have somebody
Mhm.
in there like Theo who is from the UK, but like so on every team, you've got somebody that's most likely from the US. They're all working together. Is this actually a world championship? Like,
And
if
this
we
is
were
what like,
getting,
I feel like we said this earlier on in the season. I was so excited to see just, like, a new challenge with all these new people, and then I saw, like, I think it was on the, graphic for the season or whatever, I saw, like, Bananas and Tori on there, and I was like, "Oh god, okay, well, maybe this season of the challenge is just gonna send, like, their finalists in. So we're gonna see like a Nani and Bananas, and we're gonna see a Devin and Tori because they were like in the final, fine, whatever. And then all of a sudden they double the cast with these people that did not earn their way onto this season. And it's like, okay, well, when you said these other countries are all going to compete to earn their way into a global championship, and now you just give me the same people that I've been watching for how long? Like,
Yeah.
that's not the same.
Right. And like, because of the way things have been split up, like, let's say that Jordan and Kaz win the Challenge World Championship, right? It's technically Team UK because Kaz, as the global MVP, is the country representative, where
Right.
her legend partner is Jordan. But like, is anyone going to think of Team UK as the Challenge World Champion? I think they're just going to think of Jordan and Kaz,
Jordan, yeah.
two separate players, and Jordan being the more well-known person. Yeah, in the challenge universe, it's going to be like, oh yeah, Jordan is the challenge world champion,
Yeah.
and Kaz is too. You know, it's like, it doesn't feel like an actual world championship to me. And another question that I have, kind of piggybacking off of that, is if they were to do the world championship again, should they change up the format? Should it be where there are, you know, if there's 4 countries represented, we're going to have 4 different teams: Team UK, Team Australia, Team US, Team Argentina. Now we're all competing against each other as a unit.
Mhm.
You still might get outside alliances, but at least you're all linked together on the same team, actually representing. Because I think of, if people or teams are you know, competing in a world championship, they're both representing that country. Where it's like,
Right.
we don't actually have that here. It's like,
Or even like teams or not, even if it's just like individual competitors, but it's like, we saw on I don't even remember what season it was, but there was one of the seasons where like they like changed it up or whatever, and then they were all did that competition with like the gems or whatever, and now it's like the ruby team and the sapphire team, and like
oh yeah.
they
I
were
think
all
that
playing
was that Spies, Lies, and Allies, I think.
maybe I don't remember, but like they were all playing individually, but there was still like a team unit. Give me that,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. Um, or if, right, like, let's say they were to use this same format where we're going to have a world championship, but there's pairs. Because how many times do we have to sit through that stupid algorithm to switch up the pairs, right?
Yeah.
But they got switched after every elimination, right? Let's say maybe they don't switch after every elimination, but maybe we still have pairs. Maybe that stupid algorithm that we thought was rigged anyway, right? Just to
Uh-huh.
make the most interesting storylines for that week. Maybe
Right.
it's not rigged, but we still use the algorithm. So it's a completely random draw. And maybe you still have to make it so that a newbie hooks up with a legend, whatever. But like, rather than having a competition where for some reason the champions of all of these international seasons are lumped into the same group as the people that didn't win the season, the legends just get to hang out and sit and not have to do anything, right?
Mhm.
Like, what if everybody, the way the game started, there was no competition that people got to sit out of, and people got lumped into the same group, even if you won your season or not? What if everybody just showed up? TJ was there and said, all right, we're going to have a random algorithm. It's going to make pairs for us, and then we're going to go from there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, would that even be better than what we got at the start of this? And like,
Yes, I
not
I
to
was
say, right,
livid that, like, all of a sudden now they double the amount of people in the game, and they're like, "Yeah, but also you don't have to play in this way. You're not gonna get eliminated this week. It's fine. You guys all have to duke it out, though. You have to earn your way onto this season that you already earned your way onto by winning your previous seasons."
right, right. Yeah, I just, I don't know. And not to say, like, I don't even mean to sound totally negative, because um, this has been a pretty entertaining season for the most part.
Sure.
And I think it could be an entertaining final. There are just little things here and there that I'm kind of like, I don't love that. Maybe it
Mhm.
would be more interesting to do it this way.
And I mean,
Um,
like, it looks like we are getting the Challenge USA season 2 and all that. Like, maybe hopefully they're, like, seeing the issues and tweaking things for the next go around.
yeah, yeah, they could be. They could be, because I think this Challenge World Championship is, you know, could be a very fun, interesting.
Which, like,
You know,
it could, and I would love it, but it's like you see how much it kind of flopped in the other countries. So it's like, are they like, is Australia gonna do another one? I don't know. Apparently the viewership was awful. So like,
Right. Right. Yeah, we'll have to see. Liz has a comment here. Our friend Liz, who we love, says, I will find them more interesting playing separately now just because the Exes storyline has gotten a little tired at this point. We need at least a short break from that. I'm assuming, especially with the Exes thing, a lot of that has to do with the, Tori and Jordan drama. But I think a lot of these people, it doesn't have to be everybody, right? You don't have to bring everybody back. But now that we have watched this season with these people, when we've seen people like Danny and Sarah and Emily wanting to work together and go up against, the vets of the challenge, and they're all competitors, not just in reality TV, but you have somebody like Emily, who's an Olympic swimmer. You have Danny, who's an NFL player. Like, these are strong competitors who have experience in reality TV. Like, I would love to see a season where a lot of these people from the Challenge World Championship were brought back, but now we're able to finally actually work on their own.
right, play the way they wanted to the whole
Play
time.
individually, yeah. Yeah. So, Amaya here says, if 39 is X's, that would be hilarious. Oh, God, it would be hilarious, I suppose, but I would hate it also, I think.
I can't do Tori and Jordan anymore. Give me a season of X's, but don't include Tori and Jordan, and I can be on
Yeah.
board.
Well, I think I've said all I've needed to say and wanted to say for the last 2 episodes of the Challenge World Championship, episode 9 and 10. What about you? Any other thoughts?
No, I think that's all I got.
Okay. I want to remind everybody that we are here on Saturday night, now Sunday morning, which is not our usual time slot. We decided to have a midnight, cracked Strat Chat. Normally, we would be coming to you on a Monday, which is also known as Smonwan Monday. Unfortunately, we will not be here for you on Smonwan Monday. so we had to come to you now. But what do
I
we
could
have coming
feel
up?
it coming with the setup. I knew it was going there, and I just braced
Yeah.
myself.
So, we've done this for the weekend. We will not be with you this coming Monday. Kyle has tickets to see Janet Jackson, the Queen, Janet Jackson, because the New York Knicks have done very well, and I'm a Knicks fan, so go Knicks. But because they have continued to proceed through the playoffs, Kyle's Janet Jackson concert got pushed, which means that he will have to attend that concert on Monday. So we will not be with you that night. We will be rejoining you, though, on Thursday, right? Thursday, what will that be? What day is that? May 11th.
What a great question.
Yeah, Thursday, May 11th. We don't actually know what time yet, right? Because that's
Not
the
yet.
finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the finale. It's a 2-hour finale. So keep an eye on the social.
It was on like the 20 of whatever hour is after the finale. It's like 10:20,
Yeah.
11:20,
Yeah, I think,
whatever it's gonna be.
depending on what time the finale of Big Brother Canada actually starts, we will either be here live on Thursday, May 11th at 10:20 p.m. or 11:20 p.m.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll be confirming that and putting out a post about it on Twitter and all the appropriate social media platforms. So that'll be the next time that you see us here in the flesh. And other than that, we'll be back next Monday. Not this Monday, next Monday. And we'll be talking Survivor 44. That'll be at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So, we got some stuff coming up. Hang out with us. We're fun. We're idiots, but we're fun idiots. And this is Strat Chat. Find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. Check out our website, www.stratchatpod.com. All right. Any other thoughts? Final things for the benefit of the community.
All I got.
That's all you got? That's all I got. All right. Goodbye.